This is Danielle. Hey, this is Danielle Ford with YoungMomsClub.com, and I'm so excited today to be talking to a wonderful woman who we've been talking like for a couple months on Facebook and social media, trying to figure out a great time to connect because we both have the same passion, which is helping young moms. So I'm here with Roxanne Ford of babymamas.com.au. And I'm just going to give her a second to introduce herself and to describe the topic that she's bringing to the conversation tonight. Roxanne?
Thank you, Danielle.
Oh, give me 1 second. Let me close this out.
As Danielle said,
okay.
Sure.
Sorry, 1 sec. Okay, got it.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, Roxanne.
Okay, yeah, so just as a little side note, there may be a few technical tweaky issues to deal with, and as a disclaimer, if I do drop out, I will join the conversation again super quick. So just in case my dodgy internet fails at any point. As Danielle said, I'm Roxanne, and we're at all, but we do have the same passion, and that's across the globe. I started up my blog, Baby Mamas, about 18 months ago. I just really felt that there needed to be more support for young mums in general. There's always a ton of negative media, negative beliefs around young mums and stereotypes that affect young mums. So I felt, due to my mother, that it was to come and bring some positive to the situation and for other young mums in the same place. So today I'll be going through 10 myths about being a young mum.
One thing really quick.
I'm really excited to discuss it.
Can you, because you kind of said how your internet's a little shoddy right now,
yeah.
And I think that's the coolest thing about you. Can you explain a little bit about why your internet might be a little bit weird and the kind of the troubles you have with internet?
Yes, definitely. Okay, so my family and I, we're kind of like gypsy travelers. We move around a lot, and moved into a new tool. Living in 4 months, I'm just traveling up the east coast of Australia. We were in Melbourne for a couple of years and decided that we wanted to try something new and try Sydney out. So we took off in a caravan and lived in it all up the east coast, stopped in all these different towns, but unfortunately when you're traveling a lot, you don't always have the best internet. And when you're running a blog, you really have to finding out the nearest free Wi-Fi in, cafes, and McDonald's tends to have free Wi-Fi a lot.
I'm all about working at McDonald's from my computer. I'm like, go play, leave me alone, like all the time.
Free Wi-Fi? Yeah, totally. Free Wi-Fi there, no matter what. And also, I rely on my phone a lot, so my cell phone, personal hotspot.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, so that's why I don't have the best internet.
That's okay. That's cool. Cool. So let's, because you've put together a list of 10 things that you think are pretty common myths about young moms, and I've looked through it already, and I have to agree with you that I agree with all of those things, and that most of them are wrong. So if you can, we'll just kind of jump into number one.
Yeah, definitely. So the first one that I think is the biggest misconception about being a young mum is that you've thrown your life away. Mm-hmm. And a lot of mums that I've spoken to say they had this. I had an email the other day, a young mum who said when she told her parents, her dad said to her, well, you may as well be dead, when she announced her pregnancy at 17. So So you get a lot. And basically what I have to say about this is, as you know, Danielle, the future isn't in stone. No matter what's led you to where you are in your life now, no matter what's happened in the past, you know, you can't change anything that's led you to the point that you're at right now. But you can be in control of where it goes, reaction from this. So there's a lot of personal power in knowing that. And I actually have a really fun little exercise for anyone who says you've thrown your life away or anything along those terms. So you find your wrist, right? You check for a pulse. And if there's a pulse there, which I'm pretty sure there will be, yeah,
I'm alive! Holy moly!
I'm alive.
Nice exercise.
It's that. Exactly. So you can try that one with anyone who, you know, says anything along those lines.
That's really cool. That's really funny. You know, I gave a TED talk about this, and that's exactly what I said, is that as soon as you get pregnant, people tell you your life is over. And it's like, are you serious? Like, my life's just starting. Not only is my life just starting, so is a child's life. Like, it can only get better from there. Like, there's so much potential, you know? There's so much opportunity at that point. And for someone to say your life's over, it's like, no, it's actually the opposite. Crazy person. You know? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I want to add talk there. Great point that you made during your speech, and it was something along the lines of, what is it? I've written it down here. Oh yes, you said that mums are the future and raising the future, and
yes,
really love about.
Yeah, I think you're cutting out a little bit, just to kind of catch you up or make sure that's clear. Young moms are the future, you know, like that's like,
yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and they're raising the future. That's like the power to be able to help somebody raise their child when they're in that kind of position. Like, you're literally helping the world, you know. That's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. No, I 100% agree.
Cool. So what's number 2?
So number 2 is anything along the lines of you're too young to have a baby, or so usually when anybody makes this comment, it's not intended to be nice.
Right.
It's very judgmental, and you know, there's a couple of things to consider with it. So one, if anybody says this to you, they're being judgmental and not very nice, and you probably don't want someone like that in your life. But moving on from that, when people say this, I wonder, what's the magic age to have a child? Like, can someone is there one definitive I'm a mum? Because I don't think there is, but you know, when people say that, it's, what's the magic age?
Right, and when people get pregnant at like 40, you're not like, oh, you're too old to have a baby. You know, even though that's not like the prime time to have a baby, nobody would like say that to them, you know?
Exactly. It's rude. You would never say that to someone. And I know in Australia, when you turn 18, you're legally considered an adult here. So
yeah, it's the same thing here. 18 years old is
by the law. And the majority of teen mothers, and yeah, so you know, it's interesting to note that the majority of teen mums are in age brackets. So according to the law, you know, technically you are an adult.
Right. And I mean, I don't think it's ideal to have a baby at 18 or 19 because, you know, we're still kind of young, but that's like the perfect time for your body. Like, your body's like, you know, totally like you bounce back from it. You have energy. When I was, 17 and 18 and pregnant, I was going to school 40 hours a week, and I was a hostess, and I had so much energy, and like, I don't know how I did that, but it's because I was so young, It was really like a blessing, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny though. A lot of people, like, I used to get really offended when people would say like, "You're so young," but you know what? Now, like nowadays, it's not an insult anymore.
The other thing is, when you
No.
Yeah, I am young.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. People are like, oh, you look like their sister, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. And before I used to get like all offended.
Totally. I mean, you could also be like, oh yeah, no, it's quite funny. Sorry. What I was gonna add to that is being young is good as well because, typically speaking, when you're younger, you're more flexible and adaptable. Had years, to form a strong identity, or to be really set in your ways about things. And as you know, when you have a child, it's like, hello, mini-go. There's nothing more life-changing than a child. And if you've got adaptability and flexibility, on your side because you're young, that's just going to work in your favor.
I absolutely agree with that. The ability to adapt, I think, is like the best trait any person can have. That's just my opinion.
Think of it as superpower if you're a young mum. Flexibility, adaptability, young mum superpowers.
Right. Cool. So let's move on to number 3.
So number 3 is quite a big one, and there's quite a lot of stuff that we can discuss with this. So the misconception that you'll be a drain on the government claiming hard-earned taxpayers' money.
Right. So what's your take on that? Because I have my own opinion on that. I could go on forever about that. What's your opinion?
Yeah, you and me both, Danielle. Okay, first of all, the biggest issue with people who do say this and do have this belief is essentially saying they have how their tax is good in society. But that's always going to be because the politicians in charge of our country are the ones who decide how our taxes get spent on the country.
Right. So one thing I honestly think, can I interject for a second?
Yes.
One thing I don't think like anybody should plan on like being on welfare forever, but like it's there for a reason. And if you don't want to let a young mother who's trying to benefit her life, who might be going to school or might be working a bridge job while raising a baby, like if you're against that, you're an asshat. Like I can't even imagine somebody who is not for like helping out a young mom in that situation. And not to say that it should be happen to everybody or whatever, but that's what like welfare is for, I think.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you on that. There are serious to consider if we don't subsidise in our society, whether it is young mums or homelessness or, people trying to find work, employability. If we don't help out those who are less fortunate in our society, you can expect to see a rise in homelessness, a rise in crime, domestic violence, suicide, depression, and the list goes on. And that acts the community as a...
Hope you broke up. I think you're breaking up a little bit. Yeah, so it's just, it all falls into the same categories. Yeah, you're back now. You're basically saying that it applies to anything, help,
okay, cool.
like helping with mental health, and helping with homelessness. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
For all the money that we're wasting on bullshit stuff, like, we can put some more money towards the kind of social causes. Come on. Yeah, it's silly. I like that we're on the same page about that.
Well, you know, in Australia, no, I like that too. I was just going to say, in Australia, so it's about 60% of the total population get back more tax system than taxes, and that's across the board. That covers, you know, education, infrastructure, roads, you know, healthcare, schools. Like, you get back more than what you put in, and 60%. That's the majority of the population here, and I'm sure it would be pretty similar in the States as well.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's pretty similar to that, I'm going to assume, because a lot of people are in the, probably more, I don't know, a lot more, most people are in the bracket.
Can research that.
Okay, wait, I think you're breaking up. You said you researched that? A little bit of freezing going on. You there? You there? Hello? Okay.
Definitely. I mean, leads to. Can you hear me?
You just came in pretty clear again. Yeah, you broke up for a little bit there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I was just going to say, you know, it leads to another issue to consider with the top 40% of income earners. I would, if somebody has a problem with a young mum on welfare, you know, trying to get back on her feet, I think there is more issue with the fact that the top 40% of income earners, people who are wealthy and huge corporations, are able to get away without paying, you know, much tax. So they have very generous tax subsidies and loopholes from the government. You know, the income disparity in the modern world is the worst that we've ever seen, and I think that's a much larger issue than a young parent needing support.
Right. That's a whole other conversation. You and I are both like, you know, we both are very opinionated on that kind of stuff, and I think we're both doing the same thing, to where, like, you can't fix all the world's problems, but you can start with one kind of niche, you know. And so that's what we've both done, is like, we can help young moms. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. So let's move on to the next one.
So the next is can't go back to study.
Can you say that one more time?
Are you there?
Yeah, can you repeat what that is?
So myth number 4 is you can't go back to study.
Can't go back. You're breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Hello.
Hello, hello,
Okay.
hello.
Cool. So myth number 4 is that you can't go.
What does that keep breaking up? I wonder if it's just my...
Are you there?
Yeah, every single time you get to, like, the end of the myth, it breaks up.
It's like, yeah, the best part in the movie, or you know, you're watching a TV show, and then the TV cuts out.
Exactly. I'm like, I keep on almost hearing it.
Okay, I'll try again. So myth number 4 is you can't go back to study.
Oh, it's just, yeah, okay, so we say it differently when you say you can't go back to study. I didn't know what you were saying, but, like, can't go back to school, or, like, can't go back to college or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So okay, it makes sense what you were saying.
Yeah, anything, yeah. Sorry, I'm an Australian
No, you're
translator.
fine. You're fine. So yeah, could you elaborate on that one a little bit?
Well, totally. The biggest problem, when people say, I can't remember off the top of my head how the percentage of young mums who don't return to complete their high school education or continue on to further college, university. The biggest problem is the lack of support for young mums to do that. It's absolutely achievable, and particularly with, today we have internet, and we've seen the birth of long-distance study, and a lot of schools and centres and colleges, they offer online learning, which makes it so much easier as a mum to continue your education. But I think, the biggest reason most young mums don't continue is lack of support.
Right. Even if you can stay home, I mean, you need someone to help with your baby while you take your classes and while you study and while you need that support for sure, even if you're able to do like an online school. So yeah, that's kind of where we, like parents and aunts and siblings, they need to, like, even though it's not their problem and, whatever, they need to like take an active role in helping the young mom be able to, at least for the next couple of years, like, get things done. And people, even like moms in their 30s, need that same exact kind of support. It's just for different things. You're usually they're going to go back to work or whatever, but it's not as judgmental. It's not as like a bad thing.
Exactly. No, that's so right. And you know the saying, it takes a village to raise a baby, to raise a family, and you need as much support as you can get from your village. And sometimes what I've seen a lot of here in Australia with some of the mums I know is young mums helping each other. So they do a sort of nanny share, take it in turns, watching each other's kids, and that's a really good option as well. It saves money and you're helping a fellow parent, a young mum who's doing the same thing as you.
Right, and that's kind of what you and I are both trying to create more of, like with Young Moms Club, I was like what would I have, like, what would have helped me when I was in that situation, and it was to like have other moms going through the exact same thing, so that's kind of, it's nice to connect with people even that are not just in your general area, but like on a larger scale globally, like we are right now,
Yeah, absolutely. And with you, when I was 22 and I had 2 kids under the age of 2, I really felt quite isolated. I didn't have, a lot of my friends didn't have kids, and it was hard to connect to the older mums, and to be able to go online and access support that way is a really great thing to have for young mums.
Yeah, just to know, like, I'm not alone. That's like the most important thing, I think, is to tell young moms right now is like, you're not alone. It might seem like it because there might not be another one in your direct vicinity, but they're all over the place and they're here online.
Cool. And I feel so, it's nice to know.
Cool. So what is number 5?
Okay, so number 5 is you won't be a child. And, it does depend what we're discussing here. If, you're saying you can't provide your child with the latest, trendy clothes,
Nike shoes,
or really
exactly. An iPod when they're 3.
iPad. Yeah, if we're talking about those things, anything that has significant financial investment or, requires a bit of money spent, that's not necessary bringing
Right.
up a child, and that doesn't mean you're a good parent if, you know, you can do those things. The most important thing that you can provide a child with is, you know, the intangible things. It's love, it's protect, it's kindness, it's gentleness, it's understanding, you know, it's respect, it's everything along those lines. That's the most important thing you need to provide your child with.
Absolutely. And you know, it's funny, those kind of things are setting your kid up for a better life more than the monetary things can. Can I tell you about an article that I just I read it like yesterday, and I'm going to find it and send it to you. But there's like the senator that is trying to pass a law. He's trying to pass a law saying that it's that parents shouldn't be allowed to read to their kids because it sets them up for like an unfair advantage in life. Because the kids that aren't getting read to are like below, like socially, and like, yeah. And that, first of all, that's craziness that like they would even try to do that. But you know, I've seen crazier in the world. But just the fact that reading to your kids every night, you know, like that's something that you can do. That's more important than like putting them in all these activities that are expensive or shopping and like, you know, all this stuff. That just proves that if they're trying to shut that down to keep us all equal or whatever, how important those little like intangible things, like you were saying, are.
Exactly. And, you know, I mean, being a young mum, and if you do struggle financially at first, or, you know, if you are in that position now, you can feel, I have felt bad over the years when I haven't been able to send my kids to, you know, ballet classes or gymnastics or, you know, whatever it is. It's important to remember as well that Mother Nature is a pretty awesome playground. You can take your kids to experience things that have to cost money. And as long as you're spending time with your child and nurturing your relationship and your bond together, you're doing a good job. You're doing enough.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's move on. What's number 6? You on 6 now?
6. Yeah, so number 6 is you won't be a good parent if you're a young mum.
Yeah, I like that. I'd like to hear some rationale around
that. First of all, whether you're a good parent or not really has nothing to do with age.
Yep.
It kind of adds in with what we were just discussing as well, you know, the valuable and important things that can provide your child with. And you can do that no matter how old you are. You can provide love and support and care to someone else no matter how old you are, really. It's basic fundamentals in human connection. But the problem with this, which I think is where it affects mums, is, and I know you talk about this a lot as well, Danielle, is before young mum has even begun her parenting journey, she's told that, you know, you suck. You're not good. You're not going to do a good enough job. You know, you already suck before you've even had a chance to try or to find your feet with the whole parenting gig.
Yep.
So that's when it's a problem for young mums, is if they buy into this system that they're already doomed, you know, everything's fall apart, they're not going to be a good parent because they're young, and it's not true at all.
Right. And that's funny because here are people saying that, you know, this person's too young to have a kid. They're basically saying that they're still a child. And the person saying this to the young mom knows that if you tell a child they're not good at something, they're not going to be. Like if you say, oh, you're just not good at gymnastics, you're not good at math or whatever, they're not going to be because they're going to have low confidence. And this person knows that, yet they're still okay with saying, like, you can't raise a baby if you're 16, 17, 18, you know, knowing that it's going to put that in their brain. Yeah. So what a horrible human that would do that, you know?
Exactly, and you know they do exist, but that's where it's so important to have the right support around you and have a really strong belief in yourself and your own abilities, which is really hard, but it does take time, and it does, you know, it's just having a lot of faith in yourself and having your own back a lot of the time as well. But just to add on to what you were saying about belief systems, whether it's someone else in you that you're not good enough, or tell yourself that we tend to believe words that we feed ourselves and live up to the negative
Self-talk,
fulfilling,
self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Exactly. So that I was trying to say.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, that's probably the best one.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's my favorite one so far. Cool. What was let's move on to number 7.
Okay, number 7. You'll never to travel.
Oh, yeah. You and I both proved that one wrong.
I'm sure. Oh, totally. But yeah, that's the thing. If travel is really important to you, whether you're a young parent or not, you will find a way to work towards that. And you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money on traveling. You can take a road trip to the nearest town for the day with your kid, and you know, go experience something different. Or as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, I spent living in Paris for 4 months, and it really didn't get any more budget than that, unless we were camping. I think caravanning is a bit more along the lines of glamping. Still a very budget-friendly way to travel and to have those experiences with your children.
Right.
When people say this or believe this about young parents, they're usually referring to, you know, and I'm sure it was the same for you as well. In Australia, we're really big travellers, and when you finish high school, everyone goes on a backpacking trip around Europe. Like, it's just what you do when you're a person. It's, you know, the expectation that you have to go find yourself, go travel around the world with a backpack on, and you're doing things in the right order. So, yeah, if you are a young mum, if you want to go do the backpacking trip, you can. But the thing is, if you don't go traveling while your children are young, you can do it in the nest because you're still young. You'll still have enough energy, and you know, you'll have youth on your side to go take that slow on the world.
You know what? I'm gonna be 38 when both my kids are graduated from high school. So I'm like, I would rather go travel then, you know, after experiencing my children's life and then being a little bit more wise and knowing what I want to do, than go do stupid traveling when you're 18, not knowing the world, just being drunk in some bar and on a budget, you know, like, I feel like it's almost better to, like, you know, and I don't feel like I missed out on anything by not being able to travel like that, even though I do travel now.
Yeah.
It's just that you're right. It's more of like what you're supposed to do or whatever, you know, rather than like the fact that it's totally possible to do it when you have kids. You just have to be a little bit more creative.
Exactly. It's the same thing again. Whatever you want to work towards in your life, no matter what circumstances are, you can. And for me, travel is a really big thing for me and my family. So we work towards that. That's one of our big goals. But
Love
it's possible. Definitely possible.
Love it. Love it. What's the next?
Okay, number 8 is you'll never have a social life again.
Oh, yeah. You'll never have a social life again. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, well, do you know what? At first, I don't think if I had, you know, someone taking care of my baby or, you know, the opportunity to go out, most of the time I didn't want to anyway because I was really sleep deprived. I was dealing with the shell shock of being a new mum. And quite frankly, I wanted to spend as much time as I could with my baby. I didn't really want to go anywhere. But as my children got older, I really, I wanted to meet other young mums that I could relate to. I wanted to have a bit more interaction with other people, because when you do the, taking care of a child full time, that can get really isolating after a while. Like, in the short term, it's manageable and it's fine, but after a while, I think, you really do miss contact with other people and socializing. And when my children were older, I, had a newfound sense of I wanted to start going out again, and I wanted to join a mother's group, and I found these things were totally possible. And you can inject a social life back in again in so many ways. So you can join a mother's group. You can, go back to college or start or any other sort of training or, educational place and meet other people doing the same thing. You can volunteer at charities or, organizations that you're interested in. There's a lot of ways that you can inject a social life back in.
Well, and then as your kids get older and they start to get involved in school and activities, you kind of have to hang out with like all those parents. Like if you get invited to a birthday party, all of a sudden you're hanging out with those moms, or if you join the PTA, PTO, you like automatically get a bunch of friends. And I honestly think that, when people join Young Moms Club, I like immediately send them a bunch of questions. I'm like, tell me everything about yourself and all this. And I'm always like, what's the number one thing like that you don't like about having a baby or being a young mom? And the thing that I hear like very frequently is that like none of their friends understand, or like all their friends abandon them. And that's so common. Yeah. But it's like, it's a good thing. Like, because unless you have a really close friend who's going to stick around, support you, be mature about it, not judge you, like you don't want those people in your life. If you want to make new friends, and you have to like clear out the space,
exactly.
to make space for new people. So I think that's like, even though it's a myth, it really is a myth, but it's like, it's kind of true, but it's kind of a perk too,
It's definitely a friend filter, and you want the good ones around you. If it filters out the not so good friends, that's for your benefit.
Right. I like that friend filter. I like that little analogy. That's good. Cool. So what is number 9?
Number 9, and I think this is a really big one for young mums, or the belief system around young mums, is that if you're a young mother, you're promiscuous.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
You're
exactly.
like, yeah, me too.
And the thing is here, it's not anything groundbreaking. It's just simple science. You only have to have sex once before pregnant. That's it.
Right. So it's like, people, you're promiscuous. Okay. So apparently every mother in the world is, because that's all it takes.
Exactly. So again, that's just a very negative, judgmental stereotype to throw at a young, but you can totally beat them with science on this one, guys. If anybody says that, give them a little schooling on those and these.
Well, you know what I think about that is like, when I don't condone like, obviously going out, sleeping around, whatever, but even if a girl did, right? Like, let's say she did sleep around, she like, and whether it was a mistake or not, whatever, that's so like sexist, because you would never tell a boy that he's promiscuous. She's promiscuous because she slept with a bunch of people. But if a boy does it, then he's like the dude. He's like awesome, you know, high five, bro, all that. And even if he gets a girl pregnant, it's not like oh you dummy, you know, what were you thinking? You know, whereas a girl is now a slut. She's promiscuous.
Yeah.
She's all this. It's such a double standard, and it's just not true. Even if she does, like, yeah.
No, I totally agree with you on this one, and it really, really bugs me. But that kind of ties into the final myth that we have to discuss, and you know that the young mum's the bad guy. Like essentially, it's a feminist issue, you know. So it's part of a much bigger issue at play here, and that is, yeah, it's a feminist issue.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk more about that. You said the young mom's the bad guy. And then, so what does in your words, what is the dad? What is he? Is he a bad guy, or what do people think the dad is?
No, there's usually no discussion about the young dad. You know, if there's, as you just said, if a young guy gets a girl pregnant, there's no focus on him. There's no, you know, what a terrible person he is for being a part of that.
Yeah, there's no your life is over.
There's no your life is over. No, there's no working dad. If we want to, you know, we can bring all of the the issues in. There's no
you can't go back to school.
Thrown at him.
Right.
No, you know, it's totally fine. And yeah, that's the thing. It takes two people to make a child. You know, whether a young mum ends up single, you know, on her own, raising her children without the dad in the picture. She, if a guy does, you know, talking about the situation, if a dad, you know, does a runner, had nothing to do with the kids, then why is the mum who's stepping up to the plate and, you know, taking care of her responsibilities, how is she the bad person, the bad guy in that situation? It's actually the opposite.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's usually no bad guy. I mean, it's just biology, you know? It's just, it happened. Like, who's the bad, I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, not to blame the parents, but it's usually the parents that are the ones that are pissed off at their kids and are like kicking them out of the house and how could you do this, when really it comes down to them, you know? So if there is a bad guy, it's the parents for sure. But I really don't believe there is a bad guy at all, and it's just a situation that needs to be dealt with, you know?
Exactly. And, you know, as we've talked about already, just because you're providing support to someone in that very difficult situation of teen parenthood or, you know, being a young mom, it's, I've just had the biggest mind.
You're like drawing a blank. I hate when that happens.
Oh no!
I hate when you're like a child.
No, I had a really good. It will come. Damn! It will come back to me.
I distracted you.
So I was just reading something else then. No.
We were talking about the parents and all that. Man, it's like when it's an epiphany. That's okay. So, what would you? So those are the 10. Let me ask you what your thought is. Like, what would you just tell a girl immediately? Like, if there was one like short blurb that you had to tell every single girl, you know, that ever got pregnant as a teen, and it was just a couple lines, like, what would you tell her?
It's hard to condense it.
I know.
But basically, yeah, I think it comes down to
oh wait, you're breaking up a little bit.
Through
hold on one second.
Solid self with your life, and
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me? You're breaking up. That was like a really important part that I wanted to hear from you. Are you there? Hello, hello.
An idol is.
Okay, wait. I totally lost you for a minute there. And I know that was like a really important part. Can you start over? Sorry.
Totally. So yeah, it's hard to condense it down into, you know, just a really short blurb if there was something to tell a young mum who finds herself in this situation. And I think the most important thing is to have a proof, or to build up a proof and solid belief in yourself and what you can achieve with your life onwards. The future is yours taking, and it does not matter what background you have, what situation you've come from. You have a lot of power to make your life how you want it and to make choices for the benefit of the child. So, yeah, I mean that to say that build up a belief system in yourself and a faith that your life isn't over.
Absolutely. I love that. Very good. Very good information.
I'll put it back to you as well, Danielle. What would you say now?
Kind of what I always say is, like, it's gonna be hard. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you and be like, oh, it's fine, you know, you can go to school and you're gonna, you know, have friends and whatever. Like, all of these things are issues. It's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna lie. But, like, you're going to get through it. Like, has there ever been a person who, like, didn't get through their obstacle? Not really. I guess some people, you know, but not really. And the majority of young moms that get through it are huge because of how the, you know, amount that is happening all the time. That's another reason on Young Moms Club I like to spotlight, like, how she did it and girls that got past all the teenage years to show, like, it's hard, but it's possible. So just the fact that, like, it's going to be hard, accept that, but you're going to get through it. So keep taking the steps. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. So we're kind of running out of time, but let's kind of wrap it up. I want to make sure that viewers know how to connect with you. So can you tell me a little bit more about your website, what you offer on your website, and then also, like, how we can find you on social media?
Yeah, definitely. So if you want to connect with me on my blog, I'm at babymamas.com.au, and if you sign up to join the Baby Mamas family, I have a free ebook gift called Shine Bright Like a Diamond. Basically, there's a lot of little tips in there, just, you know, pretty short, snappy, motivational tips for being a positive life. There's health and wellness tips for you and your family, and I've even included some recipes.
Nice.
And there's also the Baby Mama's 10 Commandments. So, you know, really positive affirmations for any young mother to live by. And you can also receive an invitation to join the Baby Mamas Facebook group.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, so everybody go over there, check that out. A lot of really cool information. I know you do a similar thing like Young Moms Club. We do a Spotlight Young Moms where we just kind of showcase young moms who are getting through it. I know yours focuses a lot on career and moms going to school and things like that, which is awesome to show. So I really like that you guys do that. Really cool. Yeah, I'm super glad that we were able to finally connect and have this conversation because we've been talking about it for a long time. I mean, like, it's been years probably, and I know, like, you supported my campaign when I was fundraising, and I supported yours when you were launching the new website, and we've, you know, been kind of trying to help each other out, which is really cool. So I'm really glad we were able to finally do this.
Definitely, so am I. It was awesome to chat to you, and yeah, I'm so glad that we finally connected online and got to meet as close as possible to real life.
I know. Maybe one day. Cool.
Definitely.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. And then for anyone that isn't familiar with Young Moms Club yet, head over to youngmomsclub.com. And we also have a private Facebook group. I think those are so beneficial. So you can I have a little ebook, The 7 Steps to Being a Kick-Ass Young Mom. And then we have our Facebook group, which is really fun. So everybody go check out both websites. Come connect with us. I know we're both really active in the Facebook group. We try to be active on social media, but that can become like a lot, but we're both really active in the Facebook group. So that's where you can probably reach us the best. Awesome, Roxanne. Thank you so much for doing this. And I know
thank you, Danielle.
Our time zones are different, so I'm going to go to bed. You're going to go ahead and finish up your day.
I'm going to go pick up the kids from school and, make dinner.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, okay? I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for everybody who tuned in live. Bye.
Yes, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.